What's up, everyone? Marc Lobliner, tigerfitness.com. Let's talk about carbohydrate needs for athletes. So I've been actually reading a lot of stuff, and a lot of the carnivore guys are saying, yo, you don't need carbohydrate to perform. And up to a point, I think they're right. But there's a difference between longevity, there's a difference between optimization, and there's a difference between performance. And as a performance coach, as a guy who designs supplements for performance, and as a pro bodybuilder, retired for now myself, and also as someone who's very athletic, who partakes in a lot of athletic events, I like to maximize my performance. I also weight train 6 days a week, and I do active things, and I want to make sure that I can be optimal at it. Now, a lot of people don't want to be optimal. A lot of people simply don't want to die. A lot of people are simply overweight. A lot of people simply want to live a longer, healthier life and be somewhat active and train moderately. That's great. And I'm going to give you, by the end of this video, I will have a recommendation for just about everyone out there. I might miss a few populations, but just about everyone out there. So let's go into if you can perform without carbohydrate. The answer is absolutely. Because your body has a process of making carbohydrate. For example, if you are getting adequate protein and or fat. Now let's start with protein. If let's say you're getting a lot of protein, moderate fat, and very little carbohydrate, your body will make up for the lack of carbohydrate with protein. What it does, it converts protein to carbohydrate via a process known as gluconeogenesis. That is where your body converts protein to carbohydrate. It is not a very efficient way to get energy, but your body does it. It's a body survival mechanism. Now, let's say you have low protein, like let's say 20 to 30% of your diet, 70% of your diet is fat, and then the rest or whatever traces carbohydrate. Your body will, because it's lacking amino acids, going to preserve those because you need amino acids to live. They're essential. Your body doesn't need carbs. There's no essential carbohydrate. You do not, and I repeat, do not need carbohydrate to live, but carbohydrate is beneficial for a lot of things. So if that's the case, you're getting more fat, less protein, and very little carbs, your body will get energy from ketones by converting fats to an energy source known as ketones through ketogenesis. And so that is where your body goes. Now, at the beginning of being in a ketogenic diet, your body will become fat adapted. Fat adapted means that your body gets used to using fat for energy. And I don't remember the exact, sometimes for many, a lot of it's anecdotal. It takes about 3 to 4 days up to a week where your body will adapt to fat. And over time, your body gets better and better. I've gotten to the point through fasting and through doing lower carb diets. And right now, I'll tell you my diet in a minute. My body can go from utilizing carbohydrate to fat in a very fast state. I also take injectable carnitine, which actually does help with that process from the data I've read. But I was fat adapted long before that, where my body uses flexible energy. Flexible energy is where it can go from being carb-based to fat-based in relatively no time. So, that's a pretty cool thing to be. It's actually everybody should want to be like that, but a lot of people just like staying in ketosis, and that's fine. Just realize that, in my opinion, you will be able to perform. You'll probably be able to do really, really, really well. I just don't think you will be able to perform optimally. There's a difference between possibly, it's possible you could do that, or probable, but it's not optimal. So you're looking at maybe 1% better, maybe 20% better. There's really there's no number for it, but we will talk about some data later. I won't cite sources, but just some data that I've looked at. So for me, I'm always carb depleted. So I like to stay where I use pretty good protein source. Like I'm at about 1.5 or slightly less grams of protein per pound of body weight. So that's about upwards of 250 to 300 grams of protein. My carbohydrate, I do not eat starchy carbs. I do not eat white rice. I get all my carbohydrate, now that I'm not bodybuilding, from outright bars, because I love outright bars, or from fruits and veggies. I eat a lot of carrots every day. I eat 3 to 4 outright bars every day, and I eat a good amount of mixed berries. That's my carb sources. Now, you can make fun of, that's what I like to eat. That's what my body thrives on. And I also like the added fats, the monounsaturated fats from the outright bar, because I usually by default, I don't like fatty meat sources. So other than a little bit of cheese in my scrambled eggs in the morning, I really don't get much fat. So the outright bar allows me to get about 10 grams of fat into my diet. So 3 of them, that's 30 grams of fat, or else I will be lacking essential fats. I need fats because I demand a lot of my body. I'm always on the move. I'm up from 3:30 a.m. to around 11 p.m. My first client's at 5 a.m. I train another client at 8. I train myself at like 9:15. And then I work all day in the office, all day. And then I coach again in the evening. So I'm constantly going 20,000 plus steps a day, just crazy busy. So for me, I need more macros. I also have a super fast metabolism. But I'm always carb depleted, so I'm always tapping in to ketogenesis or gluconeogenesis in addition to my high glucose intake. High glucose, I would say for me, for anybody, I'd say 150 plus is high, because high is a relative term. And that is usually the number where you're not going to go into gluconeogenesis, not going to go into ketogenesis for most people. For me, yes, I do, because my metabolism, my activity level. So there are plenty of evidence for carbs for performance athletes. A couple years ago, ISSN, there was a presentation by a scientist, which is funded by Gatorade, so take it for what it's worth, where they found significant difference between athletes taking intra-workout carbohydrate or during training versus athletes taking no carbohydrate. Now, the performance differences, I can't quote off the top of my head, were significant. And there's been plenty of studies that have shown that carbohydrate enhanced athletes or carbohydrate consuming athletes will perform better compared to even themselves after a washout period, or compared to non-carbohydrate consuming athletes. However, you do have athletes like carnivore man himself, Sean Baker, who's still doing some epic stuff and breaking indoor rowing records, which I didn't know was a sport, but he's the man at it. And honestly, like, yeah, that's fucking awesome. All right. So the thing is, longevity, probably, right? For longevity, let's say you're not a competitive athlete, you're 35 plus years old, you're a dad bod like me, or a shredded dad, as I like to call myself, and you just want to be healthy. You know, less carbs is probably a better move. And if you're going to get carbs, I would look at getting it from micronutrient dense sources like berries, like vegetables. You can eat all the carrots you want. There's like 200 calories in a bag from Costco, like this big. So you can really eat, satiate yourself. And another thing is they control hunger. Now, if you're one of those people who don't like eating vegetables, I do have something I'm going to show you right now, and that is No Morbidity from Ambrosia. No Morbidity is an appetite suppressant that I came out with alongside my crew, Sean Torbani, Mike Rashid, and as well as Alan Roberts' collaboration in this project. We have 4 patented ingredients that's not only helps suppress appetite, but also helps with stress and anxiety. Again, 4 patented ingredients, studies up the yin yang, No Morbidity. We have it on tigerfitness.com. So that's another thing, is that carbohydrate will it's a vicious cycle. Right? Like you eat carbohydrate, spikes your insulin, blood sugar, and then you crave more because of the crash. So by not eating carbohydrate, or controlling your blood sugar by not eating carbohydrate, like let's say white bread, instead you eat berries and veggies alongside protein and monounsaturated fats from, like, say, outright bar, like I eat, right? Like, or not even the outright bar. Let's say you just eat a tablespoon of peanut butter, right? Or let's say you just eat ribeye instead of a sirloin. Your blood sugar is going to be more regulated than if you ate, let's say, a turkey sandwich with just protein and carbs and no fat, right? And there's the bread that's going to be high on the glycemic index. So what controlling your carbohydrate or taking No Morbidity does, this is why I'm bringing it up, or an insulin mimetic would even help, like Nutrient Driver, if you're prescribed metformin, you know, it'll help to reduce those hunger cravings, because you're controlling the blood sugar and insulin, which causes those cravings. Because when your blood sugar drops, your body's like, dude, give me some French fries, give me some runts, candy, give me something, give me some bread, give me some cake, give me some pie, give me some cookies, because I want to keep my blood sugar from dropping, because I don't want to lose this energy. And it's a vicious cycle. So controlling insulin, taking things like Nutrient Driver or No Morbidity will definitely help with that, right? So bottom line is, for performance, here's what I like. Like, let's say you're a lineman, right? Trying to lose weight. You're in the NFL, okay? You're a lineman, or you're playing high school football. What I'm going to do is I'm going to tell you to eat mainly protein and fats and maybe some fruits and vegetables throughout the day. But in the hour pre and post workout and then during training, I'm gonna have carbohydrate. So what that means for me is maybe for someone who's really doing a high intensity sport like football, I'm gonna have them eat a banana and an outright bar. Pre-workout, post-workout, I'll have them go and get some dinner, and just have, or some lunch, and just have, let's say, a Chipotle bowl with some rice in it, right? Like get some carbohydrate, replenish. During training, I like to see some carbohydrate, depending on the intensity of the sport. For that, you can use, a carbohydrate-containing beverage. We sell plenty of them on Tiger Fitness. Or, for simplicity, you could just get Gatorade. I know Gatorade, I'm trying not to curse, Gatorade's crap, people say. However, it's fructose and glucose along with some other crap, whatever. It's all sugar. Exactly. That's what we want. It has electrolytes. It's good. Honestly, I'd like to see him put a couple scoops of branch chains like machine fuel, wherever your branch chain of choice. Throw it in some Gatorade, dilute the rest with water, and just drink it during your training session. Generally speaking, most people get by with 20 to 40 grams of carbs. You don't need much because you're eating throughout the day. You had about 60 grams of carbs from the outright bar and the banana, and then post-workout you're going to eat. But then throughout the day, just eat protein and fat. All right. Or eat protein and veggies, protein and fruit, throw in some monounsaturated fats, whatever. And remember, the outright bar, the glycemic carbs, it's honey, which is actually safe for most diabetics even. So that's why I recommend it. I do sell it, but I created it for that purpose. So I'm not just putting a freaking round peg in a square hole. I'm literally telling you, this is why I created this. For sustained energy. But again, anything, a tablespoon of peanut butter, almond butter, a fucking Reese's Kiss, I don't know. Okay, I'm just kidding about the Reese's Kiss. So basically, we don't want to deprive athletes of carbohydrate. I don't. If you do, Charles Poliquin was very successful with it. I believe David Boston, one of his athletes, a wide receiver, never did well in the NFL, but again, I believe he got great results from it. God rest his soul. So what I recommend for bodybuilders and recreational lifters, now, I like carbs around training. I just do. So if you can, during a diet, and I've said this in more videos, I have, 7,000 videos on YouTube. So what I like doing, when I'm looking at a bodybuilder is if you're losing weight, I like keeping your cardio and cardio as low as possible and your carbs as high as possible for as long as possible. So what I like to do, unless in the deep, dark depths, just the recesses, just the nastiness of contest prep, where at one point I was literally eating 4 ounces of chicken breast 6 times a day to get ready for the show that got me qualified to get my pro card. So I won the Knox, and for that I literally ate 4 ounces of chicken 6 times. That's all I ate. That's horrible. Contest prep is not healthy. Don't do it. But for you athletes who aren't idiots, right? For you bodybuilders who are actually ready for a show, you don't try to prep in 10 days like my dumbass. I always like to keep for my clients that I train, because I do have coaching, Lobliner.com. I have an option before training, and I usually recommend an outright bar, but let's say for some reason they're allergic to nuts or whatever, then I just like a scoop of MTS Whey or Ambrosia Planta or whatever protein. I just trust my own. I make it. Obviously, I'm going to recommend it. So I usually have a scoop of whey with a banana, and for some I'll throw in, for some who are more carb sensitive, who just tend to spike and bonk, I like to have a little bit of peanut butter, maybe like a little bit of, let's say they're allergic to nuts, a little bit of, a little bit of fat source, like whatever it may be, whether it's almond butter, whether it's sunflower, it's just something to slow down the digestion. So basically a scoop of whey or Planta and a banana. That's like 30 grams of carbs. And then intra depends on the person. I personally don't need intra-workout carbs at the moment. About 20 grams of carbs. Post-workout, I don't think you really need much. I really don't. But if you want to have your carbohydrate during the day, it's a good time to have it. I normally don't care as much. But again, when you're in the start of the diet, I want to have carbs post-workout. I'll normally tell my clients to have an outright bar and then have a carb-containing meal, or just have a larger carb-containing meal. That's what I usually recommend. For recreational lifters, same thing. I like to have carbs around training. For sedentary people, this is where I see having more of a ketogenic approach, right? Not really ketogenic, but I want to see you get your carbohydrate from fruits, from vegetables, cut out as many starchy carbs, white rice, bread as possible because it's easy calories. At the end of the day, low carb diets work mainly because you're cutting out 33% of your macronutrient options and also all the good tasting stuff. Like all the good stuff you eat is a carb food, cookies, pie, pastries. So cut that out. So basically satiate protein first, get as much protein as you can per meal. Have some veggies, carrots, and lettuce, whatever, spinach, just fill up your gut, and then have some fat with it, maybe some fattier cuts of meat. I don't even think you need to add in much more fat. I think you're good there. And that's pretty much it because you're sedentary. What the hell do you need to carb up for? Like you're not doing anything. So that's that. Let me know your thoughts down below. I really think this is the optimal way. I actually have a book coming out called Drop the Dad Bod. It's called Drop the Dad Bod, and it should be ready in about 14 days, if not sooner. So keep an eye on that. I will announce it here. Thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate everything. I'm Marc Lobliner. Be sure to like this video, subscribe to this channel, click on the notification bell, and remember, that's not a game. I used to have to go through dozens of bottles of vitamins, of supplements, just to get what I need. Look, I'm busy. I'm running multiple businesses. I'm coaching. I'm a professional bodybuilder getting ready for my first pro show. I don't have time to sit there and do all that. I gotta go. I'm on the go all the time. That is why I created MTS Nutrition Immortal. Here's how they look. This replaces dozens of bottles of supplements. So let me tell you exactly what this has. It has probiotics, greens, liver detox, joint support, cardiovascular support, and the most complete multivitamin, multi-mineral supplement ever created. If you have a busy life or you simply want more time to do the things you love and be able to travel by just taking one simple little pack with you, Immortal's for you.